What if what you work for your business had an impact on being able to close more premium sales for your business? Well, that is what we're going to be talking about today because a lot of times in style and fashion, we talk about what our appearance is doing for others. But here's the thing is that it is actually doing a lot for you as well. And I want to show you today about how what you wear will help you be the person that is really able, the female founder that is really able to more get a higher rate when you are trying to close those premium sales. So let's dive right in. Well, here's the thing is that there is something called enclothed cognition that is very important that you understand that is impacting your business. Enclothed cognition is basically the psychological term, and what it really means for you is that what you wear on your body tells you what your identity is. It truly does. Now, you may, and it could lie, is the thing, or could tell the truth based on if what you are wearing is aligning with your true identity or if it is non-alignment. So let's say you are really close to hitting seven figures this year. It is a goal of yours, and you just need to make a couple premium sales before the end of the year. And so that is a huge goal of yours. And so you have been doing really well in business. You have been growing. You have been getting better and better. You really get your clients like that excellent elevated result when they work with you. And so you're like, when I started in business, I was good. I was a professional, but now like I am way up here. And so here's the thing is that sometimes female founders are very elevated female founders, but what they are wearing is way down here. And so you could have all the skills, but when you put those professional instead of elevated business clothes on, those clothes are telling your brain that you are this level instead of this level. And we know that what we think has a huge impact on what we say and what we do because it impacts our belief. It either makes us, like be able to sprint forward, or it's like stopping. It's like putting the brakes and like, whoa, 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 wait. I wouldn't say that because you're not really at that level, even if you truly are. I wouldn't offer that. I wouldn't try to get in touch with that client that you've been wanting to work with because you're really not at the level, even though you are, even though you can get those results that they're looking for. What you are wearing is bringing you down. It's giving you that identity that maybe you had 3 years ago. So here's the thing. The great news, though, is that when you have a business wardrobe that is elevated and aligned with the level of the female founder that you are, and even, I don't even like to say like incorporating where you are, yes, but we're always growing, right? And so you probably have, with that like $1 million business goal, you probably have like an identity of who you are or will be when you reach that, right? Because you have to keep growing, you have to to get there. And so what you really need to think about that elevated business wardrobe is really dressing, taking into consideration, yes, where you are at currently, but also like dressing as if you already at that $1 million because you need to do some of those things. You need to think some of those ways that that $1 million you would do and think, right, before you actually get there. And so you need to dress like that so that you can have that identity in your brain that yes, I am her. This is coming naturally. Those words, those reaching out to those high premium prospects, yes, that's natural for that $1 million self. I want to think of like, let's say you want to start running. Just don't like And it could be different for everyone, right? Like what is when at one point to become a runner? Like you might have like, oh, well, if I do 3 5Ks, then I'm a runner. You might have something in your goal, but really, in order to get to like doing 3 5Ks, I can't remember if I said it though, 3 5Ks or a marathon, whatever. Um, you like have to think as a runner before that, right? Otherwise, you're not going to have much motivation. You're going to be unclear on how to get to that goal. So you already have to think that. And so that's what you really need to be thinking about in your business. To be able to close more premium, you need to think about dressing as that future self. And so that's like the enclosed cognition, right? So that's like step number one to being able to um, dress in a way that makes it easier to sell those premium clients that you want to. You're a little nervous, but you want to. You need to dress as your future self would to get your mind there, to get your words there, to get your actions there. And at the end, I'm going to go over a little bit more on like what that looks like tangibly in your business wardrobe. But I want to go over a few other points as well, because here's the thing. There has been a lot of research done in this actually. And so I just wanted to share a few different points to help you see that an elevated business wardrobe really is your guide, like your secret weapon that's not talked about much to help you close more premium sales. Because a lot of times I feel like in the business world, people will think, oh, hiring a stylist would be great, eventually. When I reach that 1 million, then I will. But here's the thing is it's impacting your sales right now. So if you're thinking, I need to get more sales in order to hire this person, but then your style is going to help you get more sales, you're kind of moving the wrong way. So it's not just a nice to have. If you really want to set yourself up in the best way possible to be able to close those premium sales, then looking at your business wardrobe is one of the first places you need to start. So there was a study done, and I have some notes on my phone. So, and it was the Cross and Mendes study. And so what happened because okay, so enclosed cognition, that is a thing. So dressing on as your future self, very important, something that needs to be incorporated to create that elevated business wardrobe. But also, nowadays we are so casual. And I think as a personal stylist, I do believe that um fashion has shifted a ton, but there still is a significance in more formal clothing. And, I will say too, like we do need to think about how my view of formal clothing and your view of formal clothing do they differentiate a little bit, and that's okay. But there has been so much proven benefits of elevating. That's just like bringing it higher. It doesn't necessarily mean, it could mean buying from a high brand. Not always though, but really it's about good quality. It is like thinking about what your best premium clients are looking for. How formal? It might be more formal or less formal, depend on other, business that you associate with, but you do need to think about that. So this study, they had 128 men, and they had some in sweatpants, and they had some in the suits, and then they had some very casual clothes. And so they put these men, like, paired them up together for pretend business deals. And what they found out was crazy. And this goes along with the enclosed cognition of like what you are wearing does give you a certain identity. So what they found. is that the men that were wearing the suits and the nice shoes compared to, like, collectively, that group compared to the men that were wearing sweatpants and the men that were wearing very casual clothes made millions, millions more in those pretend business deals than the other group of men. Millions more. So, okay, that's crazy, huh? And clothes cognition, what you wear, dressing more elevated, impacts your business deals, or we can apply this concept in like closing the premium um, sales that you're trying to make with someone. Maybe it's a business deal, maybe it's a collaboration, or maybe it is just with a premium client, but like a business deal, whether it could be a coaching program, it could be like a one-on-one. Those are all business deals, right? So when you want to be able to do that more easily, you got to think of, what am I wearing? What is this speaking to me? Now, okay, another thing was there was another study done. It was the Slepian Ferber, oh my goodness, Gold and Ruchik research done. And they found that more formal dressing made people think more abstract, which, like, I was like, okay, whenever I think of abstract, I think of like the crazy painting. So it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. So it's like the critical thinking. It's like, you know, the thinking that goes deeper. You're able to process things better. You're able to, be like, figure out things more easily, problem solve. I feel like be more creative. Um, so, and you know what? I'm gonna actually read, because I was like, okay, abstract thinking. And maybe you like picture an abstract art. So, okay, according to AI overview, so higher order cognitive ability. Who else wants a higher order cognitive ability? And like, you think of it, it's like elevated thinking. An elevated wardrobe matches an elevated thinking. So you can understand complex concepts, symbols, and ideas, recognize hidden patterns, understanding metaphors. So how I think of it is like, so like, you have your regular thinking, and it's kind of like surface level. When you have abstract thinking, if we're thinking of like the ground. I live on a farm. Like, so regular thinking, you're like in barely in the soil. But abstract thinking, you're like, can go all down, like go down to the root of a plant. Like, you're going that far into soil. You can just like dig deep in your brain, figure out problems, you know, like elevated thinking. And they found that people that were wearing more formal, nicer clothes wore, when they were wearing them, they were able to think that way. So, maybe you're having this meeting, you have like offered this offer to this premium client, and she's like, I would love to. However, here is this objection, that like this problem, this conflicting thing that I'm thought of, that kind of is preventing me from fully saying yes. And it could be just like a logistical thing, like I don't have any internet at the place where I'm in during the summer. It's way out in the middle of nowhere. And when you have that elevated, higher problem solving thing, if you don't have it, you could be like, okay, like frozen, right? Just like, okay, what am I gonna say to her? Is it a good deal? Like, can I get past this? Da, da, da. That's all racing. But when you have a higher, elevated, abstract thinking brain, you're like, problem solving, problem solving. Okay, you know what? That actually, I'm so glad you brought that up. You know what? This is going to still work. This is possible for you. This result that we found that we can achieve for you, that you can get, this is possible because, and then you're going to come up with this solution on your own. And you're like, you could, maybe be um, like, I heard that near that town, there's a coffee shop and it has, has this workspace right next to it where you can get into Wi-Fi really easily. And so you could just once a week go there. I know you love coffee, so you could turn it into this really fun coffee experience as well. Try a new coffee every time you go there, and then get our weekly coaching and at the same time. And so instead of like freezing, which I know you would do an excellent job of preparing yourself, right? Because you are an elevated female founder, but you never know what comes up. And so can you agree that having your brain in a state of mind that just is able to problem solve much more easily, come up with the solutions here and there, like really quickly, is something that you want, right? When working with someone, when you are trying to close a premium deal, that would be beneficial, right? And so this is possible when you really take your clothes, elevate it, make sure that that is formal enough, that it is looking nice enough, that is really aligned with telling yourself, I am this elevated female founder. So that was another research that is amazing. And I wanted to share with you. There was one more, and I've heard it many times. And I want to tell you in a research way, and then I want to tell you about a story that I read on a blog. And it has to do with a white lab coat. So they did a study where they had two groups of people, and there was this white lab coat. And they told the first group, hey, you're going to take a test, but we want you to wear these white lab coats. Oh, and by the way, they're painters' lab coats, like white coats, so they don't get paint all over. So put them on. Hello, and clothes cognition. It made them feel a little different way, and they had to take a test. So putting on that painter's coat, going and doing that test, they got enclosed cognition. That coat was telling them something. They did the test. Then they had the other group of people, and they were like, hey, this coat actually is a doctor's lab coat. We just want you to wear it and then you put it on and then go take this test that we have for you. And so, once again, hello, enclosed cognition. Oh my goodness. And so they put it on and went and did the test. And so they wanted to compare. Okay, does it matter what people think their like clothes represent? And sure enough, they found out they did. The people that were wearing the painter's or the doctor's lab coat, um, versus the ones that were told that it was a painter's coat, the doctor's coat, they did better on the test. Why? Because their brain and enclosed cognition, when they put on that identity like, oh, I'm a doctor. I'm like super smart. And, a painter and a doctor might have the same smartness. They could. But if you think about our culture, oftentimes, like a doctor going to school for how long, we have this thing in our mind of like, oh, yeah, they have to be pretty smart to be able to pass all the exams and all of that comes with it. And so they got that identity of a doctor when they were told it was a doctor's lab coat, and it showed up in those tests, even though those coats were the exact same. Isn't that crazy? So once again, we see enclosed cognition, and um, like think of this when you are in that meeting with that premium client and you put your offer in. I want you to think about just your body language. if you are at this level and you grab it could even be a blazer that looks great on you, but that you've had for a while. And it takes you back a couple years in your business and it tells you, oh, you're this person again. And so you kind of, you may not even realize this, but your like confidence just lowers. And what does that affect? That affects your body language. And so maybe you kind of like, maybe you kind of just are more closed off and you don't really notice it, but the woman across you that you're talking, this prospect, premium prospect that you are talking to, she catches up on it because here's the thing. If you dig into, and I'm sure you have, like premium clients were looking for things much differently. Like everyone wants to buy from a confident person, right? But premium clients like dig even deeper. It's like I feel like it'd be like our human eyes can be good. I have really bad eyes. Thank goodness for contacts and glasses. I don't know what you're like, but like say let's say you don't need to wear contacts or glasses. They're like good. But like think of I think it's an eagle and like how far they can see. I'm trying to think how far, but I think they can be like flying super high and look in a field and like see a mouse really easily. So they have super good vision. So think of that with like a premium prospect or like a regular prospect and a premium prospect. Like the regular prospect is going to look for certain things, but that premium prospect just like stays deeper into things, right? Like on my eye to look at the field and be like, oh, there's the corn. And the eagle's way up high and it's like, I see the tiny mouse at the bottom of the cornfield. Like that's how you think. And so our body language is very important, making sure that like it is on par when we're with a premium prospect, right? So, um, and I actually just heard a story recently, from a 7 to 8 figure female founder. And it was so interesting with, how your clothing can bring you to different identities, but also included in that is like different stages of life. So, like I said, maybe it's just a blazer that looks nice on you, but you're not realizing you've had it a couple of years. It still looks great, but it's actually taking you back in that identity from a couple of years, and you've grown so much from them. And so this female founder was talking about how she had gotten some new bracelets because she realized that, and if you've been pregnant before, you might be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. She realized that these bracelets that she had for a while, she still loved them, but like when she saw them and wore them, like it brought her back to pregnancy, like the previous year, and maybe like the previous year or a couple previous years. And so it kind of gave her that identity. She called it like old Macy. And she had grown so much since then. She was truly a different person. She was a different female founder. She had accomplished so much. She had gotten through and gained all these characteristics and endurance and everything since then. And so she ended up actually buying new bracelets. She's going to keep her old ones, but like they were just making her feel like the old identity, which would make her think and talk and act like the old identity. Not completely necessarily. And I truly believe like some of it is consciously, but some is subconsciously. Like she hadn't been pregnant for a while. She's been postpartum, I think like 10 months now, but think of how she just like I don't know exactly when she realized it, but it took her I think a while to realize like, oh, this is giving me an old identity because it takes me back to old Macy like a year or two ago. And so it can even be just simple pieces, but when they are not elevated enough, they are going to throw you off. They're going to give you the wrong identity. So when you, so all of this to say, it can affect how you talk. in that meeting when you're trying to do the premium sale or sales. It affects on the Zoom room. It'll, and I want to point out too, like it's not just in a personal meeting. It could impact your Zoom room because people are still seeing you. They're still seeing how you're sitting, right? They're seeing how you're talking. It could affect even just a phone call where you're trying to close a deal. Like, what is her tone like? Does she sound confident, right? So, when you prioritize an elevated business wardrobe, you will take on the identity, first of all, that you are. All of those, I want you to think of like, wouldn't it be so sad if, like, for some reason, 5 to 10 years into business, something happened. There's a medical emergency, something happened in your brain so that you had to start back from the beginning of business, or even like a couple years ago. Wouldn't that be such a sad thing? You're like, I have gone through a lot. I have solved this many problems. I have just, like, think of all those different things that you have learned and become in those years. And it was just like, boom. When your business wardrobe is not elevated to that level, it is like you are going back in time and you are losing those different character traits, that endurance, that perseverance. You are losing that by telling yourself and making you feel like an old identity. But when you dress in an elevated way, you are aligned. Your body language is confidence. What you're saying is confident. You are thinking more clearly. You are ready to problem solve when they come up with an objection, and so you're just like in there, like, yes, this is going to be amazing for you. We're going to make sure this works. And you would love to have more of those meetings. Like I said, whether it's phone call or on Zoom or person to person, where you meet with the premium clients. And because of those different things, from wearing an elevated business wardrobe, you have a much higher, maybe 2 times higher conversion rate, right? And be able to sell those more premium sales, close more premium sales because your closet is elevated and it's elevating your identity and your actions. You want that, right? So that you can hit that $1 million goal. Maybe it's 1.5 million, maybe it's an 8-figure goal, right? This is possible for you when you understand that how you think and how you act and how you speak in your business is impacted by what you wear. And you can transform your business wardrobe into an elevated business wardrobe to really align with the amazing female founder that I know that you are. So let's go and let's talk about a few things that you can start doing into your business wardrobe right now. Um, Now, first of all, I want you to this week, or if it's at the end of the week, start of the next week, but I want you to, when you wake up and you are going to get dressed for your business, I want you to think about, like, what do you need to feel today? And just like pare it down to one word and be like, okay, um, is it like confidence? Because I mean, confidence, like, we always need confidence, right? And even after we've mastered like confidence, we're still doing new things. So we just need that extra boost of confidence. Um, it's so important, right? So maybe it's confident. Maybe it's like just peace. Maybe, like, colors are huge communicators. So maybe it's like you need to feel more grounded. And so that day you would look and be like, okay, do I have more, like, maybe you realize you have a green shirt and like, okay, that makes me feel grounded, like that earth tones. Just and like write it down if you need to. And look in your closet. Do you have a piece that makes you feel that way? Because that's going to be part of your identity. Like what you need right now is like what you need in your business right now, what you need to feel is going to be different. Some things may be the same of like 6 months ago or a year ago. I a couple years ago, I kind of like completely did my wardrobe and I loved it. Like I was super excited. I was actually too pregnant and I kind of changed it to like very bright and floral, like feminine and energetic. And I like looking back at that right now, I realized that I probably needed a lot of those things. We had a big gap between number two and number three. And so like, I needed to feel like getting into that motherhood with the baby again. I needed to feel energy because a newborn is always like, young kiddos just take up a lot of energy and time and everything. And so looking back, I'm like, okay, that's what I needed that season. But then it was interesting, like a year later, maybe a year and a half, I started thinking like, oh, I'm really not feeling super excited about the clothes, like wearing clothes in my business wardrobe or in my wardrobe. And I realized that like I had changed. And also I was postpartum and getting to that point where you can kind of breathe again. I think I was getting more sleep again. And so I was like nailing into my business more and really getting more serious and elevated with it. And I realized that my style had changed because I needed to feel different things from my clothes than I needed to a year and a half ago. And so I changed it. So just think like, okay, what do I need today? Do I have it in my clothes? And if you do, like, you could write it down, you could write the word down confident and be like, okay, this simple blouse with these gold buttons, right now, that makes me feel confident. And so, um, maybe after the 5 days, or you could even do it a couple weeks, you're like, wow, I'm doing this new thing, I'm doing this new premium offer. I just like need an extra boost of confidence right now, or I just like need an extra boost of just feeling very grounded right now. Maybe there's a lot of changes happening in your life and your business. Not so much, but you just like need to feel more grounded. And so you're like, you know what? Like I need to feel more grounded. And you're like, that green shirt does help me feel more grounded. I'm going to um like I need more of those pieces. And so think of just like track what do you need throughout that week or 2 weeks? What words do you need to feel? And see where the gaps are. And then also, I want you to, step number two would be, so that will really help you kind of align with that elevated identity. There's more to it. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I can have a couple more things at the end that I will talk about if you want to dig deeper. But another thing would be um, to look at the level you're addressing, the formal level. And a good way to do this is look at what those premium clients are wearing. Now, depending on who they are and like how premium they are, usually I recommend like looking at clients and dressing like a level more formal than them. So, like, let's say they often wear nice blouses. Well, then you adding a blazer to some of your outfits here and there would like show you as a level higher in getting in dressing. But sometimes some people may, and you might be part of this, may have such a high client that it's all designer name, like they have an unlimited clothing budget. And so I don't want you to be like I'm going to have to start charging 10 times of what I do. In that scenario, I would say, um, like, you do like look at your clothes and are they matching to the level? You're probably going to need to up it. You're probably going to elevate it. And you can do this a couple ways by, maybe there is a brand that they absolutely love. And you notice this pattern with like a couple premium clients that you've gotten before and then some that you've like really would like to work with. Maybe there's one brand, like maybe Chanel, they love. Well, buying just one piece of Chanel, like a handbag, in your hair color is an amazing neutral or somewhere around like listen exactly, but we both have brownish. Um, Adding that just shows signals that relevance. Also, like thinking about quality. Make sure quality is top notch. And those are just some things you can do instead of um, to really be at their level without having to maybe spend their exact budget or have all designer pieces like they do. So those are just two ways that you can really start elevating. Another other ways to do that are making sure you really look put together. And that doesn't have to do so much with how formal, but are the pieces that you're wearing, are they meant for your complexion? Are they meant for your body? That is also going to really elevate your business wardrobe. And so we've talked about so many different things about enclosed cognition and really stepping away from about what our appearance does to people, but how it truly impacts us. And when we are really considering enclosed cognition and how it affects um, how we think, how we feel, how we act, when we use that to our advantage and really elevate our business wardrobe, then we can close more premium sales. So, a couple of things in the bottom. I am going to be doing a 3-day live challenge where we will be digging deeper into this about dressing for your identity and clothes cognition. How can we incorporate that into our business wardrobe so that those clothes are speaking that future self that you want to be so that you can think more like her, act more like her, have more DM conversations with the premium prospects to get them into that room and then close the deal. And I would love to invite you to that. I've put the link below. It's a 3-day free, not sorry, 3-day virtual event. There is a cost to it because I want you to get a little skin in the game. Not much, but a little bit, so that you are committed to really understand the importance of this because I know if you take this to heart, it can really change and impact your sales in an amazing way. So there's that. If you are more like I see the importance of this, but I do not want to, like if you're more of a done would like a more of a done for you service, um, then I would love to have you check out the elevated business wardrobe, the curated elevated business wardrobe, where it is all done for you. We figure out we spend a day figuring out what are the different pieces, what is going to look best on you, we go over, some coloring and some body shape and the minimum. And then I take that and within 2 weeks, I present it to you, this full lookbook for the season so that you have an elevated business outfits, whether it's in speaking engagements, networking events, maybe it's just Zoom calls, maybe you are going to be a YouTube guest. All of that is covered in your closet so that and all set up for you so that it's like this easiest. I don't know if you've ever done in your kids like the Lego manuals, but I'm not talking like the teenage ones, like the instruction manuals for like such easy maybe toys or like my son, I think of like my son got the like Mego blocks. It's like a train. It's like a little train that's already pretty much all put together. We just have the wheels on and then the blocks. And it's like animals. So it's like the cat head and the cat bottom, like put them together and then put them on the train. And it was so funny because um like there's directions for it. I'm like pretty sure I can figure that out. So just think of like it's so simple to put together, but it's like would be like, okay, put this cat head together, put this cat bottom together, boom, you got an outfit. And it's all laid out for you so that when you are like getting ready to pack for that big speaking event, and you can grab the pieces, match it up from that visual lookbook, put it in your suitcase, and you're ready to go. Um, so if you were more interested in the done for you, then I will put a link to that below. All right. Well, you can make sales easier. And the great news is that it's when you have an elevated business wardrobe. And here's the thing is that you have to get dressed anyways. Why not have it be elevated so that it can impact your business in a way and you can get a higher conversion rate when you are interacting with your premium prospects? All right, until next time, know that I am cheering you on in your style.